What's up, everybody? The moon is in the sign of Leo until mañana. If you haven't been following the moon, I highly suggest you do. It is the fastest moving luminary. It goes through all of the signs the quickest, and it touches all of your houses, all of your planets. And by following the moon, it can help you learn your chart, learn your personal cycle. What's up, Lita? And ultimately help you to uncover your subconscious programming. So follow the moon. I have a digital guide called Lunar Astrology. I would love for you to check it out. If this moon stuff is interesting to you, I explain exactly what you need to do and exactly how you can do it. I've been good. I have been doing well. The baby is asleep, late nap. We'll see how long this lasts, but just getting on here to show my face. How have you been, Lita? I am growing the Patreon community. It is $11.11 a month, and I post there every single day, and I work with you on your astrology. Tarot is part of it, but more so astrology. And I teach you the basics and work with you one-on-one. About to take a nap, a sleepy gal in the house. So if you have not checked out the Lover Goddess Patreon, I would love for you to do so we can work together more closely. Again, it's $11.11 a month. So you get like 30 days worth of content and readings and insight for $11.11. And if you're someone who donates over here anyway, you might as well join the Patreon and get some more in-depth mentoring. Let's see. So the moon is in the sign of Leo. I am a Leo moon, and I love it. I love that energy. It just feels right to me. Being more creative, being more assertive with yourself and your feelings. I don't know if I paused or not. Leo also rules creativity, so it naturally rules the 5th house, which is the house of children, your gifts, creative gifts, the babies you're going to create, not just literal children, but like projects, passion projects. Do you have to download the app? I don't think so. For Patreon, I don't think you have to download the app. It helps if you do download the app, but you don't have to. Let's see. But yes, the Patreon is called Lover Goddess. I'm going to put it in the chat here in just a minute. You have Leo in the 5th. So are you an Aries rising then, Lita? Are you an Aries rising? Because if you are, that would make a lot of sense to me. Copy. Let me find the chat. I'm about to post the link to the Patreon. Again, I'm guiding you through the basics of astrology. Aries rising. Yep. Helping you learn your birth chart and give you birth chart readings weekly, um, to help you figure out, well, what the hell is going on and what it all means. I feel like the best way to learn astrology is to use your own chart, because you know yourself the best and you are literally experiencing the astrology as we go through. So I created the Patreon to help guide and mentor those people who are serious about getting to know your unconscious programming, right? Because that is what astrology represents. It represents a set of characteristics that you were born with, and a, a certain way of being that is just innate and unique to you. However, once you begin to see, like on paper, how you're kind of programmed and how you're wired, how you're set up, you can then make more conscious choices about what you're going to do with that energy. So, as an Aries rising, once you realize, like, oh, I have the potential to be a little impulsive. I might not always think about the things that I need to do before I actually get out and do them. Once you realize these things about yourself, you can then take a few steps back whenever you are faced with an important situation, and you can be like, okay, I'm an Aries rising. I know I just want to go go and do without thinking, but in this case, I'm gonna need to reel myself back and think about it first. An ASMR channel? No, but if you like the way my voice sounds, feel free to stay. This is an astrology and tarot based channel where we delve into the self. Thank you. I appreciate it. Where we delve into the self, the subconscious. We learn about ourselves so that we can then learn how to love ourselves and learn how to reprogram our minds, right? Girl, your Pisces stellium keeps you grounded. Grounded is the word you would use with a Pisces stellium. But hey, I think I know what you mean, right? Pisces is water, kind of calm that fire down a little bit. Pisces is often said to be swimming after their own tail, so I'm sure that keeps you from getting too impulsive, right? That's funny. Please speak something. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. More like mellow. A mellow, impulsive lady. But yeah, the more that you know about your own astrological blueprint, the more you can make conscious choices, right? Because we go through life with our subconscious running the show. And it's interesting that we call it the subconscious in the first place, because it gives it this illusion that your subconscious is less than, that it's not as important, when in reality, your subconscious mind is operating around 90% of the time. So 90% of the time, you're just on what? Autopilot. You're just on autopilot for 90% of the time. Um, Now, the more mindful you are, the more aware you are of these sorts of things, you can pull yourself out of this autopilot mode and make more conscious choices for yourself. And that is incredibly life changing. That is exactly what these affirmations are trying to get you to do, meditation is trying to get you to do, to be still and be more aware of the program that's running in the background. It says, I felt I was acting more of my rising sign when I was a teen. Now I'm older, you act more of the Pisces. You're a Gemini moon also. Yes, it would be interesting to see what your progress chart looks like. And if you are, um, yeah, if you already know how to pull charts, go on like astro.com and look at your progress chart, and it'll show you how you've progressed throughout your life, what energy you're playing out right now. And to your point, it being difficult to believe in astrology here in India, they have, yeah. Don't they do Vedic astrology in India? Vedic is even more in depth, and I don't know. I'm a tropical astrologer. Although there is a lot of interesting things about Vedic, it's just not what I've studied, so I can't speak too much on that. But Vedic astrology is cool too. You can learn a lot about yourself. The whole point is to learn about the programming that's going on behind the scenes, because once you make that programming, once you're aware of it, you can impact your life more. Okay. So, yeah, Vedic has a lot going on. There's so many charts for Vedic astrology. Um, but yeah, the more that you know about yourself and the program, nature is astro. I'm not sure what you mean. Astrology comes from, our ancestors and their observations from the sky. So there's different types of astrology for different parts of the world. Okay, bye, Lita. Have a good nap. For different parts of the world, and it just varies. So, is it part of nature? Nature is what you can observe. Then, in that sense, yes, nature is astrology. And it's just watching the patterns from the sky and seeing how those patterns impact us here on Earth. So it's not necessarily something to believe in. It is a form of science because, again, science is observing the natural world. It's more so a collection of observations. Okay, so we know when someone is a Taurus, they are likely to behave in this way. When someone has a moon in Cancer, they are likely to behave in this way. When someone has this particular aspect, these sorts of things can happen. So astrology is observational. It's based off of observation. No, look up the definition of science. Let's look it up right now. Definition of science. It says, the study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation. So science is studying something through observation. And that is what astrology is studying through observation, studying the sky through observation. So if you don't believe me in this Google search, do your own Google search and type what I typed the definition of science, and this is what popped up. The study and structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation. And in many ways, we are scientists. We are, now, did I go to university to be a scientist? No. But using the scientific method, let's look up the scientific method. What is the scientific method? There are 7 steps. So first you have to have a question. In science, you have to have a question. That's step number 1. Step number 2, research. Okay. Step number 3, create a hypothesis based off of your research. Step number 4, experiment. Step number 5, analyze your data. Step number 6, come to a conclusion. And step 7, communicate your conclusion. That is what you have to do in order to use the process that scientists use. AKA, in order to behave like a scientist, you have to do these 7 things. So you have to have a question. What does it mean to be a Taurus? Research. You research what other people have said about being a Taurus, what other cultures have said about that. Number 3, you make a hypothesis. I think this is what it means to be a Taurus. That's your hypothesis. Number 4, you do the experiment. Okay, you can, and then number 5, your data analysis. So the experiment is watching a Taurus or watching something that's transiting the sign of Taurus. And then you analyze the data that you came up with. What did you see about this person or placement in the sign of Taurus? Then you come up with a conclusion. Tauruses are like blank. And then you communicate it to other people. Okay? So we often put science on a pedestal and say, oh, you can't possibly be a scientist. When in reality, being a scientist is having a question, researching it, studying it, and coming up with a conclusion. Okay? And we can apply the scientific method to so many different aspects of our lives. Okay? Yes, there are professional scientists, and there are scientists in different fields who study certain things. Absolutely. But we, as human beings, as people, can implement the same things that scientists do to collect information about our natural world. So that is my long-winded explanation that yes, studying and observing the natural world can be considered science. I'm back. Yeah, so long story short, if you are interested in learning Patreon, if you want a mentor, someone to guide you through it, to provide you the resources, to explain these things for you, I do all of that on my Patreon called Lover Goddess. I put it here in the chat. Let me see if I can pin it. I would love to see you over there. It is 11/11 for the month. I know a lot of you come in here for readings and you donate 11/11 for one reading. I would encourage you, instead of that, subscribe to the Patreon and you have access to me all month instead of just one time during a live. But it's totally up to you. I'm excited because I have a book coming on the way. It's an astrology book. I'm excited to dive in. But I don't think it's coming for a couple more hours, unfortunately. So I gotta wait. But that's one thing I'm excited to do, is to dig into that book. Have you guys been reading anything interesting? Ooh, I gotta text this lady. Another book, it has nothing to do with astrology. This one's really good. It's called Sex at Dawn. It is how we mate, why we stray, and what it means for our relationships. This person is a evolutionary biologist and anthropologist. So that's been interesting to check out. If you've read it, I'd love to know what you think. Where am I from? United States. I'm from all over the place here. I live in New Mexico currently. And you said you're in India? That's amazing. I've never been to India before. There's a lot to see in the United States. A lot of beautiful places. What else do I need to do? Land of opportunities. Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say. I don't know anything about India, so yeah. But there is a lot of possibility in the United States, that's for sure. I'm writing a to-do list in my journal while the baby is asleep. What time is it in India? You said it was nighttime. You were trying to go to sleep. PM or AM? Because 1:57 PM over here. AM. You need to go to bed. Good night. Oh, I definitely need to text her. In fact, I need to do that right now. All right, y'all. I